Good morning. Welcome. Cammie here. Hey, so what do you do when you have a day off? It's crappy weather out and you're dealing with cabin fever and kind of like, depression kind of, Well, what I do is I plan an adventure. So that's what I'm doing today. Actually, I've already started doing it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to share it with you because if you're like me, you're like, oh my God, where do I even start? Okay, first of all, what do you want to do? Well, for me, I want to do a bike packing adventure because I've never done a solo bike packing adventure. And by gosh, I'm going to be 60 years old next week and I'm tired of being afraid and of doing this shit by myself. So I am going to do it. Well, gosh, where do you even go? How do you even start? Okay, well, for me, number one, I know that I have some good, valuable information already set because I've bike packed twice already. Not big bike packs. One was about 5 days, which was big. That was the longest bike packing I did. And that was last year or 2 years ago. And then before that, then I did another, I have a video on it, Bikepacking the MORE route. Check it out because that's what I'm talking about today. I just did a small section of it with a friend and last year and I had so much fun. Oh, check that video out. It was at the beginning of my stuff. So, there's some glitches in the editing and stuff, but so what? Go check it out because it was cool. It was fun. You get an idea for what I'm talking about right now, why I want to do it again. So, God, the weather just sucks here today. It's the end of January and it's raining out in northern Michigan. Are you kidding me right now? So, I want to share my adventure because that's how I deal with this. Is I find adventures I want to do and I start tackling them and figuring them out and organizing them and everything. So what I want to do is a bike packing adventure. And you know what? I am so blessed to live in this beautiful state of Michigan. And then I'm equally so thankful for this gentleman named Matt Acker. He put this route together for Michigan off-road biking. And it's called the Michigan Off-Road Expedition. Check it out, MORE. It is every detail you need to know. So this is my first ever solo bike packing, and I want it to be as safe and easy as possible. Not easy biking, but as easy to organize and figure out. There's lots of apps out there to figure out bike routes and all that stuff, but that's one of my weak links and I struggle with. So I'm already going to be overcoming a shitload of mental fear doing this. So you know what? This is enough for me right now. So I'm going to go with this route. And it's through our whole state of Michigan. It's all off-road. It's gravel, single track, some pavement, but not much. It's all in the detail. It's all detailed out. So why not take advantage of it? So that's what I'm doing. So first thing I did is I know where I'm going to go. So I downloaded all the routes. He's got them all sectioned out. Lower Peninsula section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And on each one of these pages is the mile markers. He's got the route description for mile markers. He has resupplying camping notes, where to camp, what's available, and what mile marker it's at, what town it's at. And then here in the description, he tells you, a fair bit of pavement, with roughly 50% gravel roads, lots of climbing, lots of single track, lots of gravel. He has it all detailed out. So, oh my gosh, what a valuable tool this is for bike packing. The section itself, the whole entire route starts at the border of Michigan and Ohio and travels all the way up to the Mackinac Bridge, 570 miles. Whew, gosh, I am so excited because I've never undertaken a challenge like this before. So I know I want a bike pack adventure because I've not done this before on my own. I've kayak camped by myself. I've backpacked part of the Appalachian Trail with a friend. I've bike packed here, backpacked. If I switch my words, back and bike, sorry. But I've never done this. And did I already mention I'm going to be 60 next week, and I have been wanting to do this for 5 years and do more bike packing. And it's really hard. It's really hard to find people to go with. I mean, if you live in an area that's heavy in bike packing people, good for you. And I know a lot of bike packing people, but my gosh, they're half my age. It's not like I couldn't keep up with them still, but yeah, I know I could keep up with them, but you know, I don't know. I want to be around people my own age sometimes, you know, whatever. Anyway, but it's really hard to find people to go with, and so I haven't done it. And I'm just tired. I'm tired of putting my adventures and all these goals and stuff I have off and onto a shelf because I'm afraid. And I met this woman this summer. She was bikepacking. She was bikepacking from New York all the way to Traverse City, Michigan. And I only live about a mile and a half off the White Pine Trail, bike trails here in Michigan. And I was biking on it with my friend, and we saw this woman sitting on the side of her bike, fully loaded bike, eating a snack. Hi, how are you? And it just kind of like, I just had to ask one question instead of biking by. Like, don't we always? I stopped and I said, so where are you coming from? And she said, New York. And I'm like, whoa, what? I have to meet this woman. I need to talk to her for a minute. So we got to talk and everything. And so where are you camping? I don't know, she said. And I said, well, now I know where. You're going to camp at my house. I only live a mile up the road. I gave her the directions, super easy. Boop, boop, boop. You're at my house. Pitch your tent, take a shower, do laundry. We made her supper. We made her breakfast the next morning. Our 3-year-old granddaughter that lives with us, she was like, I love her meeting other strong outdoors women. So she met one, let me tell you. And she's doing it solo. I'm like, oh my gosh, aren't you afraid and everything? And she uses the Warm Showers app a lot for bike packing. You can check into that. And I talked to another woman before too. I said, aren't you afraid? What do you do with your fears? And she's an endurance biker. And she says, you know, honestly, and so did this other woman said the same thing. You are so tired by the end of the day and so focused on the task at hand not to get lost. And you don't have time. You don't have time to be afraid. And I'm like, oh. But they're right, because I did an endurance bike race by myself. It was 200 and some miles. And I was so focused on not getting lost. And that I didn't have time to be afraid. So they're right. But with that said, my bike packing idea of fun is through the woods where there's nobody around except, you know, animals and stuff. And so yeah, so it's a little different than open road. Although I think being in the woods is way safer than biking around cars and vehicles. Anyway, so I wanted to do a bikepacking adventure. So this is right here at my disposal. It's already mapped out for me. So this is what I'm using. So then that was my step number one. Where am I going to go? So this is what I'm doing. I'm doing the MORE route. The MORE route through the whole state of Michigan, 570 miles. So then I had to decide what I think is appropriate is what realistic distance can you do in a day? Realistically. If you want a good challenge, sure, challenge yourself, but make it an attainable, safe challenge. If you've never bike packed, that's kind of hard if you've never bike packed, but if you're an avid biker, you already know what you're comfortable with. Maybe you're comfortable biking 50 miles. Maybe you're comfortable biking 30 miles. You just have to remember that you're a fully loaded bike, so I would suggest if you already have all the gear, load up your bike and do your favorite route. Maybe it's 20 miles and you'll start to learn what you're capable of and what your limit is. For me, because I've done this twice more, I already have a good baseline, what I'm comfortable with. I know that 35, 45 miles is I'm feeling good at the end of the ride. I'm tired, but I'm feeling pretty good. I can set up camp. I got energy left. Over 50 miles, then I'm like, oh dear God, get me off this bike. And then I get to camp, just beat to shit sometimes. It depends on the elevation, all that stuff. So I found that 50 miles I can do, 60 miles I can do, and still, you know, I can be just totally fatigued and wiped out, and but still be able to function. So with that said, when I first started this, I thought I'm gonna go for 35 miles because I know that's safe, that's easy for me and stuff. And this whole route, like I said, is 570. I was gonna take 2 weeks. And then I'm thinking, you know what, I haven't put myself through a big challenge in a long time. And I know this is gonna be challenging enough that I'm gonna be doing it by myself, but I want it to be more. I want it, no pun intended. I want it to be, that was kind of funny. I want it to be a bigger challenge. So, because I'm gonna be 60. And I just wanna just prove to myself that 60 is nothing. 60 is just another number. And yeah, so I ramped my miles up, and I'm gonna train for it because I'm not doing this until May. I'm gonna train for it. I'm not gonna be stupid. I'm gonna train for it. But I ramped my miles up to between 70 and 75 miles a day. And by myself, I can stop and rest as long as I want, whenever I want. That's the beauty of going solo. Okay, so then I know, okay, I'm gonna do this many miles a day. And in order to complete that many miles, this is how many days I'm gonna allot for. I'm gonna put 2 days of buffer in there just because of weather, maybe my butt, you know, your body, whatever. Okay, so then I take my notes. Like I said, he's got it all detailed out. And I go, okay, this is my starting, my launch off point. What is 70 miles from here? Is there a campground available real close? Is there a town available real close? So I had to redo this 2 or 3 different times because I'd be going along and I'd get to day 5 and all of a sudden I'd either have to bike 35 miles to a campground or 80 some miles to a campground, and neither one was a good option for me. Okay, well, where can I make changes in my mileage? So instead of biking, I think the first day I was just gonna bike 40 miles. Okay, so the first day now I'm gonna bike 72 miles. And then I kept going on and on. And then that worked out. So now I have my final detailed itinerary where I'm gonna start, where all my camp nights are, what my mileage is for the day. So I have that all figured out. It's so easy to do with this detailed. He has everything in here. And like section 1 is 108 miles long, and he did all 108 miles and camped at the camp. Well, that's not realistic for me. So on here, he says, okay, well, there's camping here. And so that's what I did. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna, the next camping that's on this list is 72 miles. Okay, so day number 1, I'm gonna bike 72 miles. And park and camp there. So then after I have all that, here I've got it on my paper, where day 1, where I'm gonna start, where I'm gonna end, and it goes all the way down to day number 7. Now I have that all figured out. So then on top, now my next step is, now let's make a list of where all my resupply stops are. And that's what you could do too if you're doing a different one. You know where you're gonna start, where you're gonna end, how many miles a day. And if you have a nice detailed like this or whatever your map is, then you can pinpoint different gas stations, restaurants, and write those out and what mile they're at. So that's what I did next. I have it written out to where, okay, where's all my resupply stops? Day 1, I know at mile 45, I have a Shell gas station right on route. And so there, that tells me at mile 45, I can resupply water, snacks, take a rest, whatever. And then I have that for all my days. Where's my resupply stops along the route? I know on day 2, this will be a fun one. On day 2, at mile 35, I'll be going through the town of Rockford, Michigan, and that's a lovely little town. That's going to be fun. And I know they have this awesome park. I think we jump on the White Pine Trail here. They have this awesome park right on the trail, these cute little cafes and restaurants. And that's at mile 35 on a 75-mile day. That's right in the middle of my day, so I know I'm going to have lunch there. Of course, I can have a respite there, a rest break there. So I did that with all. Okay, now on day 3, there won't be any restaurants or anything right on route, so you have to plan for that. So, but I know that it's going to take me through or near, right through or near campgrounds that I'm familiar with, rustic campgrounds. I know they have water pumps. And I know that because in Michigan, you're never too far away from water. I studied my map, and we are going to be crossing creeks. We're going to be going by lakes and rivers. So I know I'll always have water sources, always. Very important to know where your water sources are. Probably more important than food, because you can carry all the food you want. But water is really difficult to carry all the water you need. So you have to carry your water filter and filter water. So that's my next step. Anyway, I have my resupply. Okay, so I know where I can eat lunches, where I can resupply snacks. So after that, then I need to figure out, okay, now I need to know how many meals I need. And we did this for backpacking the Appalachian Trail. We knew we needed to pack enough food to supply us for 6 days. And we knew at day number 6, we were going to go into town and take an off day and resupply and buy new food there. So I know I only need to carry enough food for these, because lucky for me is that on day 4, I only have to bike 40 miles, and I'm going to be at a campground or a camp spot. I could camp at. It's a great camp spot. But it's only maybe a 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive from home. So my husband can come out and pick me up, bring me back home that night. I can get my bike checked over. I can do my laundry. I can take a shower. I can have dinner with the family, and I can have breakfast the next morning with my husband, and he'll take me back out and drop me off at my starting point. So I know I only have to carry enough food to get me to my home. So that's what you could do. Carry enough food until you know you have a grocery store that you can resupply at, or an outdoor fit or whatever. Only carry what you need, So I have that all figured out. I have how many breakfasts I need, how many lunches I need, how many dinners and snacks I need for the first 4 days, and then I resupply, and then I have 3 more days. So I have that all detailed out. Oh, I'm a very detail-oriented person, but I think it helps you pull off an adventure with a lower risk of like unenjoyment and a higher risk of enjoyment. So that's my next step. Then I need to say, okay, now I know how many dinners, blah, 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 I need. What am I going to actually pack? Now for me, I am so tired at the end of a day of adventuring that sometimes I just don't even want to screw around. Sometimes just throw the ramen noodles in the boil. I don't even care right now. I'm just so tired, but I'm hungry. So I usually just take dehydrated meals. I've tried to do my own thing, but it's really hard because you're biking. You don't have a refrigerator to take non-perishable foods. So it's just easy. So I know how many dehydrated meals I'll need for dinner. I know what I usually take: oatmeal packets for breakfast and little squeeze things of peanut butter. I did that on the Appalachian Trail. Man, those were good. Almond butters packed with fats and protein and calories. So I'll take that. For lunches, I'll probably take tuna packs. I'll take tortillas because they can just roll flat. Cheese sticks, just nuts, lots of fruit. So I get a good idea of what I'm going to take for my lunches, my breakfasts, and my dinners, how many I need. So I know what I need to pack. So I've got my food list done. I have how many to pack for each time. I have my route. Oh, this was just so awesome. I have my route already planned out. And what I do is I use this app called Strava. And all these routes are on his Strava, Matt Acker's Strava. So you can just download the app, the route, right to your Strava, and I can even sync it to my Wahoo bike computer, which I will do. And so I'll have 2 GPS units going at the same time: my Strava on my cell phone, and then my Wahoo bike computer right on my top 2, always visible. So I'll have 2 GPS units going. And I found that's really helpful. And so I'll have the route downloaded so I can follow it, and I can just use that route, and it'll just show me exactly where to go on my computer. And I'll take my chargers and all that stuff. So I've got my route, how many miles a day I'm gonna do. So I figured out how many days that I devote to the route, to the adventure. I have my food list done. And next I will make a list for all the gear I need. And what I'll do when I get ready to launch off into my adventure, I'll do another video showing you exactly what I'm packing, how I'm packing my bike bags, and of course, I'm going to video it. My goodness, it's my first ever solo bike packing adventure. You got that straight. So you'll be going along for the ride with me. Check out my other video. It's bike. I think I only have two videos about bike packing, but oh my gosh, we had so much fun, me and my girlfriend. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And you'll kind of see the area that I'll be biking through and that you would be biking through and get a good idea of it and kind of what I took. And it's just, they're just really fun videos. I have two of them, day 1 and day 2. And so check those out. And then of course I'll be videoing this. Anyway, that's what I do on a rainy, crappy day is I just plan for more adventures. Now that I got my bike adventure done, I think I might tackle this next. A 3-weekend paddling adventure that I'm put together for some girlfriends. And I got to get those maps out. And this is the same thing. That's how I'm going to start. How many miles a day can we do on the kayak? Okay, well, then I get the map out. Okay, and find the camp spots. And we disperse camp. And I know lots of disperse camps. But anyway, I'll know how many miles I'm going to do a day. So then I get my map out. Okay, if I start here, where's mile this? Oh, that's only mile 18. Well, what's, this is 25. Okay, that's where we're going to camp. So I'll get that detail just like I did for this adventure. So that's what I do. And then I already have my week 1 and week 2 for my bike packing adventure. I'm retired, so I have that luxury to be more spontaneous. And I know not everyone does. And if you don't, you just buy the right gear. There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad preparation and bad gear. Because I have gone through almost every weather scenario you can think of. And you just prepare for it. So don't let that stop you. Just buy the right gear and be prepared, and you can withstand a whole more than you think you can. Anyway, so that's my bike packing adventure, and that's how I get started. The number one thing for me, of course, has always been the fear, overcoming the fear that I can do it by myself. And I'm so determined. I think having that number 60 staring at me and is really giving me the kick in the pants that I need to get this going. So, hey, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. And hey, subscribe if you want to see any more of whatever this old lady does for adventures and tag along with me. But hey, rise up, reach, and reconnect.